And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back to Steel City Bowl and Brews here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It is the PWBA Eastern Pennsylvania Regional. It's time for the Stepladder Finals. I am pleased to be joined by the five-time PWBA champion, Stephanie Johnson. My name is Emil Williams Jr. The fresh Steph was fantastic, very high scoring. As we get into this opening match, it'll feature Maya Avilez and Lexi Cloud. They were probably the best on the fresh, so we'll see if they'll bring their best to this opening match here.
I expect nothing less. The scores were very high today, specifically on the fresh, which is what they're going to be seeing. There's going to be less people on the pair, so I anticipate a very high-scoring stepladder today.
High-scoring indeed. We'll tell you about number one, the number two seeds as we get you underway. First frame, Lexi Cloud is elected to start, and she will get us going here on Bowl TV. First shot, and, well, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think we saw that leave once today from anybody.
I agree. We did see some washouts. I don't think we saw this specific one. I would venture to say maybe some nerves, first frame jitters. But, after speaking with all the girls, I think that was a very common theme amongst all of them, just being in the situation. And, trying to stay as calm as possible and execute good shots.
Lexi Cloud was very good, making now multiple shows in her regional career here on the PWBA Tour. She will get one. And I think, obviously, if there's a time to kind of have it early.
Right. If you're going to do it, just get it out of the way, so to speak. Shake off those jitters for a second there. I'm always interested, Emil, to see how they opt for the match to go, to start the game or to let your opponent start the game, because obviously that dictates who ends the match. And Lexi opted to go first, so.
This is Maya Avilez, originally from Staten Island, New York. And to be honest, she didn't leave a lot of those today, especially on the fresh as well.
Yeah. A much better leave, of course, right? I think all of us would agree we would rather be shooting a 9-pin than that PBA washout. But, Emil, we did see a lot of 9 misses throughout the course of the day. So, it's not something we need to take for granted.
We did see, as you just said, a few miscues across the building throughout qualifying, and for some certainly who were very close to possibly advancing to the top 4. More than likely, when you go back and count pins, as we often talk about.
Oh yeah,
certainly the culprits in missing today's stepladder for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. However, right here and now, it's one game. We don't have 7 other games to make up for it, so. Definitely got to bring it, execute the best shots that you can.
She went 278, 280 the first 2 games, and now she starts back-to-back 9 pins. And for some players, especially later in the block, we saw a few 9 pins creep up and not be very kind.
Yeah, I think with that transition, when a couple of the players had to essentially create steeper angles through the front part of the lane, we saw a lot more of them left. You kind of saw Maya's reaction, just kind of chuckling, like, really, back-to-back? But converts them no problem on the board with 2 9 spares.
That's a good start. You throw 2 good shots. Couple bad breaks, but leave 2 single pins. You make them.
Yeah.
That's a good way to ease into a match, especially your first one of this magnitude, speaking of Maya.
Correct. And this is her first stepladder, so nerves are definitely probably flowing. Let's see if Lexi can bounce back from her previous shot.
Great shot.
I would say so right there. That was a great shot. I did get to talk to her before the match, and she mentioned to me she thought she broke her toe last week.
Wow.
She dropped some bowling balls on her big toe of her slide foot, which of course, as any bowler, can relate to. Yeah, that hurts, and it obviously affects your slide just a bit. So she's been very conscious of that this week. It's feeling better, but by no means is she 100%.
Well, that takes me back to, Maria Jose Rodriguez, who had something similar happen to her right at the World Championships a few years back. She dropped some bowling balls on her toe, and it ultimately affected her performance for a couple years.
Absolutely.
Well, the left lane is being a little tricky so far here for Alexi Cloud.
Yeah, without obviously having the opportunity to speak to her after these shots, I would venture to say it's a case of what we talked about earlier, where we kind of overcorrect, right? She missed the head pin altogether. The shot before left a washout. Looks like she may have been left of target on that shot, but of course pays full price again, leaving the 4-6-7. Gets counts, and all you can do is kind of move on, right?
It's, of course, early advantage here for Maya Avilez, North Carolina A&T collegiate product. Graduated last year. History and teaching. So she got a Bachelor of Arts in History and a Master's in Teaching.
And her student teaching was government law.
About that.
I said, wow, that sounds really fancy. she said it just kind of, it sat with her. It's something she wants to actually pursue, which I think is awesome. Ooh, lucky break there. It was definitely, from this point of view, left of target. Luckily only leaving the 10. Could have been much worse. I would have probably left a 6 count.
First match, first few frames, you're just trying to do your best to settle down. Hopefully you're in the lead like Maya is, and so you can, not necessarily take longer to get to where you want to get to as far as rhythm is concerned, but
Right.
3 single pin makes, you'll take that.
Listen, I think anybody would on any given day, for sure. And again, this is only Maya's second event altogether on the PWBA regional tour and her first stepladder. So there's a lot going on, a lot going on in the brain. She just told me that she just needs to just remain calm and just try to execute the best that she can. Let the score take care of itself.
Looking for her first strike. There it is.
Got it.
Her mom is here. She made the trip. Mom started out the day watching on Bowl TV.
Yeah, she sure did.
And then made the trip here to be for the finals.
As a surprise, by the way.
In person. That's right.
And let's take a look here at Maya's shot. We talked about her power earlier. And wow. Splits the 8-9. I did confirm she was throwing an IQ tour. So a lower differential bowling ball. She likes to keep her angle straighter in front of her, so she will do that as long as she can.
The Cloud, 2 out of the 3 open frames, but both opens were on the left lane. Super washout to start, and then the 4-6-7 in the third. Maybe? Messenger?
Oh.
No.
We saw a lot of those too. Well, great shot, just can't get the 10 to fall.
Always interesting, Steph, and you know this better certainly than anyone. Was a 5-time champion, and we talked about your career and stepladder shows. What happens on a scoring pace on a show or stepladder versus what happened, match play, qualifying can be so different, whether it's high scoring on the show,
Correct.
low scoring qualifying match play, or vice versa.
Correct. Just taking into account just the amount of strips and re-oils that happen. The amount of time that the lane sits, etc. Certainly all a factor. And fun thought about Lexi, she ran track in college, the heptathlon.
How about that?
I was like, wow,
Now that's an athlete.
7 disciplines. And the reason we got to talking about that is because I asked her if she was a score watcher, meaning like, do you watch the standings to see kind of where you're at, what you need to do, things of that nature? And she said 100% every single time. And I thought that was interesting because she said because of her track, needing to know times and scores of that nature, it's just in her blood. Like she needs to know if it's within reach, she will gun for it. And I just find that very interesting because she's kind of a product of what she does outside of bowling, which of course is track and field and all those different disciplines, that she kind of applies it here in the bowling world, where if she's mathematically not out, she will do everything in her power to stay in. That left lane is definitely giving her trouble. See if she can. This is not the start she was going for. 61 in the 5th looking at her. And I'm not sure if that left lane has her tricked or if it's a combination of, you know, just maybe some nerves. But listen, whatever happens, you know, one game is one game, right? We talk about it all the time. You got to celebrate what got you here, too, because that's a big deal.
Boy, it's always one lane that can be so troublesome for Stepladder finalists. But right now, Maya Avilez
Is locking in.
Picked up the baton from herself. Essentially,
Correct.
she's running her own
Correct.
race today. The handoff, the exchange was beautiful.
She's feeling good. Getting into her own little rhythm here. I mean, she said quality shot making is what's going to be key for her to run the ladder, which I think, you know, anybody would agree with.
Looking for 3 in a row. Bang.
No problem.
And Maya Avilez will take us to our first break. 90 seconds more from this opening match next on Bowl TV. All right, welcome back. Emil Williams Jr., Stephanie Johnson, thanks to Kegel. Always a proud sponsor of the PWBA. By the way, we do have 2 giveaways that are also going to take place. We've got 2 bowling balls to give away, Storm and Motive. Thank you to them. So a lot happening. We'll get Motive popping off here in a little bit. But first, Alexis Cloud, the right lane has been kind. It's the left lane that has not been. Great shot.
You know, it's always challenging coming off of a commercial break, right? And I know it's just kind of a 90-second break, but it gives you that moment to kind of just settle a little bit, reflect, take an extra breather. I'm hopeful that she can make some sort of adjustment here on this left lane. She's went high the past 2 shots. And whether she can do that maybe with an alignment change a little bit or some speed control, because she is throwing the same ball. Looks like she's got some self-talk there. Listen, let's just go through our process, execute a good shot.
For all intents and purposes, this is kind of the shot of the match to keep her in it. Push a little.
Left of target. Certainly the pins say so as well. 3-6-10.
Again, this is a player who just missed the show last year at this very regional here at Steel City. Had a big game late, but it just wasn't enough. Just missed it by a few pins.
So this right here is a win, you know, in that regard. Again, regardless of the outcome of this specific match. Finishing higher than she did last year. I mean, she knew this was going to be a high friction surface, bringing certain types of bowling balls with her for that reason, which is very smart.
Also shows you the growth, right?
Absolutely.
Understanding she's going back to a place that she's had success in, and then you got kind of fine-tune it, right? What worked, what did not work, even though I was successful.
Right.
To
What can I
get
do
to the
better?
show, right? And she did accomplish those goals, as you said. Max scored 201 for Cloud. And after the first 3 frames, which saw 2 9-pins and a 10-pin, it's been 3 straight dead back flush. That one, however, 3, 6, 9, 10 for Avilez.
And her first shot off of the break, right? Could have been a little slow, a little left to target, combination of the two. 3, 6, 9, 10. I think any bowler would argue is a pretty tough one. So let's check it out. Doesn't appear that she didn't like it until that. Getting herself lined up here. Tough spare, but makeable.
That's got to hook a lot.
Oof.
She knew that when she let it go.
She did. You can see in the body language. She has some wiggle room. She's probably doing some math in her mind. Take an extra breather here. Get herself lined up on this left lane.
She had a moment where she did shoot 150 in game 6. Shot 198 after that. I believe it was 156 to be exact. This was during qualifying. Dodged some trouble there.
Absolutely.
'Cause
We
Alexis-
saw a lot of
she's
those
hanging
today.
around.
We did see a lot of those 7 pins be unkind to many of the players. But yes, you are correct. Lucky with the late fall of the 10 pin. Certainly makes the spare a lot more makeable. No problem.
So there was adversity for both players. Alexis Cloud had to, to no fault of her own, but a pair that she was going to finish on ended up not being, or had to be taken out of play. It was a brief breakdown, so she had to go down to 1 and 2, wait around for a little bit to finish up qualifying, and certainly had more than enough to advance just in front of Jenna Henderson, who bowled so well today, felt just shy of making this show.
Right.
This right lane, as we talked about, has been good for Cloud. She needs it to put a little bit of pressure on 2-8.
You know, I'd love to know what she's thinking right now, because we've seen a couple different types of shots from her, some that have been high, some, of course, light, a couple really good ones. You know, it really makes you wonder if it's part nerves or if it's literally maybe a wrong ball choice. It's really hard to say, but when you feel like you've bowled well all day with a certain specific bowling ball, I would probably start with that as well. Converts the 2-8. Now has to come to her arch nemesis lane 7. And she's currently throwing the Brunswick Alert. And jokingly, I was asking her what bowling ball she was throwing, and she said, please don't ask me any of the specifics because I just go based on what the bowling ball is doing.
I love that.
I said, that is perfectly fine. Sometimes too much information is not helpful. But this specific bowling ball is a lower differential, so very much like the ball Maya is throwing, the IQ Tour, it allows them to play the lanes a little straighter.
He's got 1 mark. 4 opportunities on this left lane. And we got 1.
All right, she will take that. You know, if I were the voices in her head, they're probably saying, thank God. All right, give me a break. Let's check it out. Everything looks to be on line of where she was playing earlier, right around that track, pretty straight. Although the ball comes in a smidge heavy, but it's able to carry the 4-6 last to fall.
179 the max for Alexis Cloud. Avilez just got to mark it in the next couple of frames, and she gets out of trouble again with the 7-10.
Wow. And you watch the body language. She's coming back, kind of shaking her head. You know, she's of course eternally thankful, but on the same token, she's probably also forward thinking of, okay, if I can lock this match up mathematically, I may try something different in the 10th frame. Not a problem.
Well, for Maya, it's simple here. Good count.
She's talking to somebody back here. She's looking for her phase 2 pearl. So she's definitely forward thinking of, hey, listen, I'm not really liking what I've got right now. Let me try something else here. Keep the ball in the lane, mathematically lock up the match, and then see something different.
Phase 2 pearl is the ball that she went to toward the end of qualifying.
All right.
That one came roaring back.
It did?
Wow.
And we do have a winner, of course, mathematically. Has that locked up. And just like we thought, we'll be switching balls to see a different shape. And rightfully so. I know a couple of her past shots, including that strike, she probably didn't love. So we'll see if this will give her something a little better.
What'd you think?
I'm thinking she might switch balls. You know, we'll see. She's going to give it another look here. It certainly comes off the spot quicker than her IQ Tour. I think it may possibly, in her mind, give her more room for error as far as not having to be so perfect. But we'll see. All right, well. May have missed a little left to target there, but doesn't matter. She's the winner, and let's let Alexis finish her game here.
Alexis is playing the bowl on the national tour. Is that correct?
She is. She definitely plans to bowl the entire national tour minus the queens. I think she mentioned she had a conflict, which is great because that is the whole essential purpose of the regional tour. Kind of filter your way in when you see fit. Get your feet wet, and that was the conversation we had. I said, listen, there's a first for everything. You just got to do it.
Let's spare the 2-8 for Alexis, making her second career regional stepladder final. First one was back in 2023 in her hometown of Cleveland. It was actually at Yorktown Lanes, which is a favorite of the PWBA Tour in Parma Heights, Ohio.
Absolutely.
Also home of the most recent U.S. Open champion, Patrick Dombrowski. So shout out to Jeremy and Aaron, who do great work at Yorktown.
I'm excited to go back there. Not the game Alexis was looking for, but hey, she had 8 amazing games to get her there. So good for her.
210 to 155. With that said, we'll take a break. Coming up next, my Avilez will face Eleni Feggulis, who was fantastic today. All that and more, and we got some bowling balls still to give away as well. Back with you in a moment. You're watching the PWBA Eastern Pennsylvania Regional on Bowl TV.
Get closer to the action. Follow PWBA's YouTube channel for content you won't find anywhere else.
Last place Larry gets mic'd up. No!
It's magnetic, so when I'm nervous, I can be like, ah! It's great. Yeah!
Phase 2 makes me want to open up too much, and I don't want to cover that many boards, so we're going to something that doesn't flare as much.
Oh, okay.
What the hell? See it.
I love bowling. At 8 a.m.
Hit subscribe and never miss a moment.
Just a reminder, again, big thank you to Kegel. Kegel, proud official, first of all, lane maintenance provider of the PWBA and the United States Bowling Congress. We appreciate you and Kegel. We saw from them a little bit earlier in our first match. As we get you prepared for match number 2, seems like a good opportunity to do a bowling ball giveaway. I think we should do a bowling ball giveaway. Let's do it.
Okay. Sounds like a plan to me.
With that said, here's your first warning for all of you watching at home. Again, all right, you've been through this many times over, I'm sure. First thing you want to do, get out of full screen mode. If you decline to do that, then make sure you have a phone, laptop, or something else that you can access Bowl TV with so you can see the lower thirds. If you're in full screen mode, you will not see the lower thirds, and that is how you can win, right? Because you got to be able to see those to have the right instructions pop up. With that said, and after that, you'll see a first countdown that will tell you that a giveaway is becoming or is going to happen soon. That's actually happening now, so you should see that on the screen here, if you don't, in a few minutes or a few seconds, excuse me. After that, you will be prompted then to simply click Submit Entry. All right? All you got to do is click Submit Entry when you see it at the bottom of your screen. No guarantees you're going to win, but at this point, you know that there is a, what do we give away, Spence?
A Motive bowling ball.
Motive bowling ball for now, and then at the conclusion of our semifinal match, or in between, we'll give away a Storm bowling ball as well. So there you have it from a giveaway perspective. Good luck to all of you, and thank you for watching on Bowl TV. Now to Eleni Feggulis, Stephanie Johnson, who my first interaction with her today was during roll call, and he simply said, of course, wanted to know how to pronounce her name.
Yes.
We talked about that part, and then she proceeded to have us call her name all day during qualifying because that's how good she bowled. So she knew it was going to happen.
She made sure we knew.
She knew it was going to take place. What stood out to you from that aspect, in your opinion, based on what you saw from Eleni today?
So this is my first encounter with her as well. New name to me, new face, so to speak. Very quiet when I did get a chance to speak with her, but very, very excited to be here. So I think if that can translate to her bowling now, we're going to have a really good match.
All right, congratulations to Robert. You got yourself a Motive bowling ball.
All right.
If you have never won before, give it about 7 to 14 business days, and the Bowl TV marketing squad will reach out to you via email. They're going to use the same email that they use, or that you use, to log in. It's going to be the same email that Ms. Feggulis will unfortunately leave a wrap 10 to start her opening contest here. First shot, first stepladder final for Eleni,
Who has opted to start, of course, which means she will finish last. Again, I'm always interested to see who opts to start and all of that stuff, you know. Ooh. Unfortunate miss there.
Well, certainly not the way you want to start your first stepladder, but you also could understand from that perspective as well. It is your first opportunity in a stepladder. The problem is you give someone who doesn't need any more motivation or opportunities
Correct.
based on her performance today, a little bit of an additional room to settle in quicker, perhaps, with that early open frame from her opponent. Speaking of Maya Avilez.
And she did go with the ball change.
She came over here, Steph, while you were away and said, I threw that so bad. She, in her opinion, out her own mouth, she said she threw the ball about as bad as she could throw it in game one.
Okay.
She just said the same thing after throwing that shot.
Okay. Which to me speaks, you know, I'm a little anxious. My heart rate might be elevated a little bit. I'm just trying to, you know, maybe get a ball in my hand where I can just relax for a second and not throw such errant shots. Luckily, she hasn't paid full price for many of them, other than the 6-3 last game. But she had some wiggle room at that point. So I think she'll lock in here. I'm confident with that.
Second shot. There it is.
Much better with her little hop, skip, and a jump off the approach. She liked that one a lot. And sometimes just that one shot is what gets you to just relax. Like, I can do this. This is the right ball. This is where I'm supposed to be. Just sort of lock in. Let's see if Eleni can bounce back from that first errant frame with the 10-pin miss. Might have been a little left of target from what I can see. Certainly gets lucky only leaving the 3-6. However, you know, as many times as we've shot these spares, they become harder when you really need them, you know? And after talking to her, you know, I asked her how she got started in bowling. And she said her older sister decided to bowl on the high school team when she was a senior, and she just got pulled into it.
How about that?
And just sort of fell in love with it, I guess, you know? So she's been bowling for about 10 years.
So she sounds like more of a late starter.
Yeah, she started when she was about 14, 15, and she said this was not the path I was intending, but here we are.
How old is she now? 23? 4?
I would say 24, without knowing for certain.
Some Kutztown University, also went to Wilmington, that's in Delaware. I'll tell you, to be a late starter as well as she bowled, pretty impressive. Very bright future for Miss Feggulis here.
Yeah, it's, you know, I love getting to sit down and talk to them because you just get a deeper sense of where they came from, you know, what their goals are, things like that. Let's take a look at that shot again. And I do believe she is throwing a Vengeance, which that one comes off the spot a little sharper than she probably was hoping for. Gets lucky with only the 4. The 9 is not with it.
All right, spare is handled. Of course, our championship match is next. If you're just joining us, this is the semifinals. Maya Avilez opened up the Stepladder finals with a 210-155 win over Alexis Cloud, who was making her second career regional Stepladder final. Again, the waiting in the wings is top seed Carrie Smith, already a 3-time regional champion. The winner of the tournament today will bypass qualifying and get an automatic bid to match play at the regional showdown in December. And of course, the showdown, if you're unfamiliar, the winner of that tournament has their entry fees covered for the following year on the national tour. And maybe, oh, no, okay, just the 610.
All right, all right.
Certainly Maya, and I think you hinted on it, Steph, just doesn't look to be, from an arm swing perspective, as free as she was certainly earlier in qualifying. Obviously, so many things and everything really different.
Oh, yeah.
From then until now.
And this is only her second PWBA regional and first Stepladder, which I know we mentioned earlier. So there's just so many things going on, right? And it all happens so quickly. It really does. And, you know, she came over to you and mentioned, you know, maybe not her best execution the game prior or even maybe the start of this game. But, you know, you start to self-doubt a little bit in the sense of, man, is it really me? Or is it ball choice? Is it alignment? You start to go down that rabbit hole, right? Instead of just seeing what's going on, taking a breather, assessing the situation, and making a decision.
Well, she was pretty quick with the decision. She elected to go to the different ball, which she is throwing now. This happened, of course, in the 10th frame. She got to look at it. She did throw it good, so something that she liked. And I do think it's a matter of execution. And I think, and if you've never seen Maya, she will let you know based on her reactions, kind of what she's feeling in the moment.
I mean, I think that was the universal sign of like, come on, just do it. You know, we have all been there.
Now back to Feggulis.
Looking for her first strike.
Peel. Bang.
Nice. And this is her first Stepladder as well. You know, just her third PWBA regional. So, you know, we're seeing some new faces out here, which is great. That's obviously the goal of this tour. Let's check out her shot here in a little bit of slower motion. Great footwork. Solid at the bottom of the swing. And you see that ball split the 8-9 perfectly.
You know, this morning during qualifying, it looked like, when players really started getting their groove, we saw break points around 6, 7, 8. They look to be a little further left during the show so far.
They do, and I'm not really sure, of course, without speaking to them, if that's more just something they're seeing or if they're just missing left to target. You're not really sure. Obviously not the result she was looking for here with the 3.69.
Not the easiest of spares either.
No, it is not.
Oh, it's actually, what's your least favorite spare? Least favorite spare to shoot? You said 3.610. Never mind.
3.610 for sure. And I think we discussed this already.
Right.
Thank you for reminding me that on the show last year, okay, in my semifinal match, I missed 2 of them, okay? I did miss 2 of them, both of them. However, I won the match. So let's talk about
That's
that.
all that matters.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
And then I won the second match, so take that.
To win, right?
To win. But, yes, spares are crucial, no matter what they are.
Right lane, Maya. Packed it.
Nice. She looked just more confident overall. Obviously, the strike speaks for itself, but those last 2 shots on the right lane, she went high on both of them. Looked like she was a little firmer with that one, and I think the common theme amongst our stepladder finalists is their speed, for sure.
For a triple crossover and no.
Yeah, it looked like she just tried to help that one a little bit. Maybe got it into the swing just a smidge early. Just one of those classic cases of just trying to play catch up in the approach. The arm just kind of crosses over her body. But hey, we have a 5-pin. I don't see anybody raising their hand. There are a few in the bar.
Uh-oh, do we have some? Okay. Well, of course they would be in the bar area.
Of course.
I'll raise my hand too then. Everybody else is doing it. Why not? I'm not a follower though. Oh gosh.
Okay. Good job. Good job.
That did elicit some laughter. As we take you to break, Maya Avilez
On
with the
that
lead
note.
over Eleni Feggulis here on Pole TV.
Got some exciting news.
We now have a pro subscription.
For bowlers who really want to take their game to the next level.
The biggest thing, you can tag and label each game.
Whenever you use a ball, whatever oil pattern that you're on,
You can now track the ball's performance and compare balls side by side.
it is incredibly powerful and it is going to help you analyze your game.
Boom! Try Lane Talk Pro free for 1 month. Upgrading the app, and we'll see you on Lane.
All right, bowling fans, we are coming back on air. Looks like Eleni is going to continue here at the 2026 PWBA Eastern Pennsylvania Regional. Let's give it up for these ladies. Remember to share.
Bowl. bowl. Just meant to turn my mic on too early.
I mean, it's better than mine was off. They didn't even hear me talking.
Well, we'll see if Feggulis can handle this commercial break. She seemed very ready to get going.
That one may have looked a little slow from what I've seen from her, but you know, I will add to that in the fact of, you know, it may be just a 90-second break, but it's a 90-second break. You know, it just kind of throws off your rhythm a little bit. Whether you have a good rhythm going or not, it just changes it. So quick to get on the approach, shoot the spare. Right. Not her most graceful attempt, but a spare nonetheless. See if she can bounce back here on the left lane. So right now she is down 23. Going into the 7th frame. Both players are working on a spare.
Well, for Feggulis, still plenty of opportunity here.
She does have a lot of friends and family watching from back home and from her school. So shout out to them cheering her on.
Max score 226 at the moment. And that's the break that, oh, there it is. It was late.
Ooh.
Maya was back here with her hands on her head.
Like, come on.
Because that was a break she got twice. It looked like for a moment Eleni was not going to get that break.
Late followed the 10, you know. Shoot the spare and move on. There we go. All right.
215 now the max for Feggulis.
We got Maya back in the driver's seat here. And she does strictly plan to bowl the regional tour. Just whatever her schedule's going to allow. Probably not ready for the national stops just yet, but she seems very career focused, which is great.
Bang.
And that was 10 back if I've seen it.
Yeah, we were marveling a few times today.
Here we see it again.
The power.
Look at her power, absolutely. Solid at the line. Great shot.
Avilez started the day with 791, 278, 280, 233. First 3 games of qualifying. She set the tone.
That is hard to do on just a house shot, okay? And they are bowling on a 39-foot pattern.
She did tell us, or told Robin. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Oh, wow. 4-9.
Okay, okay. Makeable, however, not what you want to be shooting probably right here in the 8th frame. I think that might have been a little left to target. You watch the ball continue through the pocket and keep driving left. Nowhere near the 9 pin.
Got a secure count, but maybe.
It has a chance. Oh. Oh, goodness gracious.
Well,
That is about as close as it gets right there.
Small opening.
Essentially, we are tie if we actually consider all things everybody strikes out. We could have a tie at 215.
Business is picked up here. Oh, Feggulis.
Taking her time. You know, she did tell me that she has never won anything in bowling. Anything.
I find that extremely difficult to believe.
And I think my facial expression was, really? We do have a ball change.
And it might be the third one. I thought she threw something different on the left lane. The Cove.
Oh, great shot, though. Great shot. So a funny story about that ball, Emil. Her boyfriend, Chris, who is here for support, has been holding that ball during the entire qualifying. And I said, are you superstitious? He goes, nope, not at all. Well, now she's using it, so.
All right, 10-pin was converted.
There we go. I do like that ball motion, and I'm going to venture to say she did too, obviously leaving a 10-pin. However, I think maybe in her mind it's something more controllable. So she will be using it on the left lane as well.
The big opportunity here is Maya is going to finish first. To put her in a situation where she's got to show up, of course, in the 9th and the 10th. There it is.
All right.
We've seen that reaction.
It looked like some
from
positive self-talk, right?
From every player so far.
Let's check it out one more time here. Again, she did switch balls on this lane. Sliding probably around 17, 18. Getting that ball out. Looked like around 7, 8, like you said, Emil. But it's a lot more controllable through the middle part of the lane. It doesn't get offline like the other balls were.
Now back to Maya. See it? And a 10-pin.
Same thing for her. Yep. A good shot. Can't get them all to fall down, but we got a match here.
Max scores 205 for Avilez, 204 for Feggulis. Again, waiting in the wings, top seed, Carrie Smith. 3-time regional champion.
Here we go.
Well, we like easy math, Steph.
We do.
And the easy shutout situation, math-wise.
Would be 3 in the 10th right here.
Now, of course, the performance itself, not easy by any stretch. She's got to throw all 3.
And we did talk about it earlier, how we did see a lot of players during qualifying just closing out games. All 3 in the 10th. Regardless of what the score was, just finishing the game. So we will see if Maya can do the same.
Last time up, left a 4-9 on the left lane. Not that time.
You can hear her yelling, I think it's hit. And that ball got a little further right down lane. Obviously, shot before it was a little straighter up the lane, so let's check it out here. Again, all that power with her legs, and at that point of release, absolutely gets it to about 6, 7 down lane, 6-pin, late slap at the 10. Needing this next one right here.
This next one still keeps her in the driver's seat. Bang!
Really good shot.
Oof.
And there was a pin still, like, flipped over there.
Carnage. At the curtain.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see this shot over again. 10-pin didn't stand a chance this time around.
This one is
3
for
into the 6, into the 10.
the win. She strikes, she advances to face Carrie Smith. 9, possibility of a tie. 8. Feggulis can step up and do it. Not going to worry about it. Avilez throws all 3 in the 10th to shut out Eleni Feggulis. And she is going to be on to face Carrie Smith. Here's the replay.
You can tell she likes it. Got a smidge right down lane, but that 6 into the 10, we saw it classic all day today.
It's a great favorable hit here at Steel City based on what we saw. The least favorable hit was the high flush 7-pin for right-handers that seem to not carry ever.
Right. It's like, whoa, what happened there?
All right, good spare.
Good spare. Just end on a high note here.
So Avilez is set to face Carrie Smith. And Carrie, we assume, is going to be throwing a red pulse. Just FYI. It's a tease for you.
And fun fact, she does not have a case of them like I assumed. You know, which may or may not be true. But anyway, shout out to Eleni. Great bowling all day. It will not be the last time we see her.
No, she was awesome from Feggulis, Pennsylvania. But it is time for the top seed to step to lanes 7 and 8. We'll have the championship match and a Storm bowling ball giveaway on the other side. You're watching the PWBA Eastern Pennsylvania Regional here on Bowl TV.
It was kind of my first moment that I stood in the settee area and looked around and was like, this is like a home. Like, I belong here. We all belong here.
I worked harder. I got better, I got smarter. Obviously, I'd like a few more titles. I remember walking on campus and walking in the bowling alley being like, I'm going to be next to Shannon Plahowski on that wall someday.
It's like Sharapova. She wasn't happy to see Serena. Serena wasn't happy to see Sharapova, you know? All of them. The locker room conversation, there was no conversations.
One day you could be a superstar. Those words just changed my life forever.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Carrie Smith, our top seed, in the final instructions from one Robin Graves. We've got a Storm bowling ball to give away. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Just like the last giveaway I gave you, we've got a, from Motive, excuse me. First of all, get out of full screen mode. That's number one. Robert successfully followed those instructions, and he was a winner. All right, so someone else is going to be a winner coming up. All right, so step number one, get out of full screen mode. Step number two, if you can't get out of full screen mode or don't want to, hopefully you've got a phone, laptop, or something else that will allow you to see the lower thirds coming up. Have we started the giveaway officially, Spencer? All right, so officially underway. Again, you should see some lower thirds. The first one just lets you know that the giveaway is on its way. The second one will tell you, or will have a submit entry option. You have to click submit entry to be entered. Okay, that's the only way you can enter.
That is a must.
If you do nothing else, you click submit entry. All right, so we'll have a winner here in a moment. But as you watch Carrie Smith, there is a bowling ball that is not at the moment a pulse. Looks like maybe an alert.
That would be a Black Widow Dynasty.
Okay.
I just happened to catch the logo on the side of the ball.
There's a little bit of intrigue all of a sudden now with what bowling ball she might throw.
She's got the red one on the rack. We'll see.
Make sure you submit entry.
Get a couple last-minute shots here from Carrie. Throw her spare ball a couple times.
Gerald, you got yourself a Storm bowling ball.
Congratulations.
Gerald, I'm going to give you the same message we gave Robert. You have 7 to 14 business days before, generally speaking, before the Bowl TV marketing squad does reach out to you. With that said, if you don't hear from them, then you should reach out, send them an email, but make sure you check your spam folder, check the junk folders, all of the above for that information. And then if you don't get it, you can reach out to them again at marketing@bowl.com. Steph, young Avilez versus the very experienced Carrie Smith. Carrie, of course, the top seed. Looks like she's going to allow Maya to start the match. From the experience perspective, what do you think went into the mind of Carrie Smith?
So by having Maya start the match, she will finish last. So I think that's maybe Carrie's way of maybe hopefully putting some pressure on her or just closing out the match altogether and not having to worry about it. Yet to be determined, but we shall see.
All right, here we go. Avilez has won the first 2 matches. Starting the championship match off in, well, not quite in style, 10-pin.
Yep. 7-pin thought about standing, but leaves only the 10. Certainly makeable spare. It's all or nothing right now. Like this is, we're taking home the trophy or we're not.
Again, on the line, Eastern Pennsylvania Regional Championship and spot in the Regional Showdown, a match play spot specifically. They can bypass qualifying, be seated directly into match play. We see Carrie Smith coming up for the first time, also a Pennsylvania native, originally from Lititz. Now in Lebanon, PA, plus 303, the only bowler to go plus 300 in what we thought certainly was a very high scoring 8-game block of qualifying.
After looking through some past events, even our 4th seed would have been the #1 seed in a lot of them.
Carrie averaged 237.
And opting to go with the pulse as we anticipated. Starting off with a strike.
If you know Carrie's game, many of you have heard the phrase straighter is greater. Well, that perfectly describes Carrie Smith's physical game.
Absolutely, and as we can see here, hasn't ventured far from this part of the lane. She is further right than Maya is and gets that late love slap from the 6-pin.
her first few games on the fresh, 216, 254, 268. That was her first 3. Then she shot 248, 277.
Wow.
In games 4 and 5.
She was feeling it. And it looks like she is still kind of feeling it, but I don't know if you could hear her boyfriend back here, Jeff, yelling to see it. Let's check it out again. And Carrie is very speed dominant. I can certainly relate to that as well. But I think that may have been right of target. Just didn't quite get there. This is another spare that, you know, a lot of us are not fans of, the bucket, right? Not a problem on the board. Maybe got to calm down the heart rate just a smidge.
And back to Avilez. North Carolina A&T, who just won the MEAC championship again.
Oh.
She's been flirting with this 7-10.
Yeah.
For what seems like now across 2 matches.
Right.
Broke it down twice in the semifinal match.
Yeah, and arguably these first 2 frames. So luck is on her side for sure.
Single pin, taken care of.
There we go. Easily converts. You know, probably thinking in her mind, okay, on this left lane, I kind of had the same sort of result. It was the 10 pin. Obviously on the right lane, it was the 7 pin. Sticking with the same bowling ball. Don't anticipate any sort of major adjustment here. Oh.
How about that?
Okay. I think I saw 2 messengers on that shot.
She's got a lot of favorable traits within the physical game. Her ball roll, you know, rev rate, right? And obviously you bowl against the best week in and week out on the national tour. And when you see players who do have that one intangible that just might get them that 1 or 2 extra hits a game, she has that.
Absolutely. Although she did mention she's really probably not going to dabble much with the national tour.
But when she gets there, when it's time.
But if and when, she will be one to watch out for.
Carrie Smith has made some national shows. She's still looking for that first national title. But would love another regional title here, and shots like that is what's gotten it done today.
Absolutely. That was without a doubt. Carrie's last win was in 2023, so she's overdue. Let's check out that shot one more time. Again, classic, up the lane. The ball just splits that 8-9.
She won 2 times in 2023, including the regional showdown that year. Another one.
Oh, look at that. No clue what those pins were, but they all fell down. And she said, honestly, you know, when I was chatting with her, that she just needs to focus on staying patient. Sometimes she gets a little ahead of herself. You know, maybe her speed gets amped up, which, let's check it out here. And just like the shot on the left lane previously, looks a little lazy down lane, but gets lucky on that one. Let's see if Maya can double up here.
There it is.
No problem.
Well, Steph, we were looking or expecting high scores And for the most part, we haven't gotten it. But it looks like maybe our title match might be the icing on the cake, if you will.
They were just waiting, you know? And that's okay.
Have ourselves a one-pin match early. And I think for the last bout, essentially, let's say 8 to 12 frames, Avilez's execution has been on par with what she's done all day.
Oh,
She left 2 of those back-to-back to open up the match against Alexis Cloud, of which she won 210 to 155. Good shot.
I tell you what, there's no good time to leave these types of shots, but you know, we are in the title match and it's make or break time, right? Let's check it out here. Really solid through the bottom of the swing, but that ball just comes off the spot a little quicker than she's probably wanting to. No problem with the 9 spare. Might make a little bit of an adjustment on that lane. And back to Carrie looking for a turkey here. And Carrie is not a score watcher, by the way. I asked her during qualifying, you know, were you even aware that you were leading the way kind of going into that last couple of games? And she said, I've just been trying really hard to focus more on myself and not really worry about what's going on around me, which I can appreciate that, just keeping it simple. Another light hit there. Gets lucky, the 2 falls late, leaving the 8 only. I think it's one of those situations from the outside looking in, like just needing to maybe decompress a little bit, bring the heart rate down a smidge, let the ball kind of roll into the pocket versus trying to make it strike.
Still a one-pin match, this time in favor of Carrie Smith. All-American at Shippensburg University.
I do recall. She was from our era.
That's right. We claim
college.
Carrie Smith of our college bowling
Yeah,
era.
she, yes, absolutely. And I'm okay with that.
Oh, me too. She was fantastic. Second team All-American 3 times, also Rookie of the Year. And there it is.
There it is. She likes that one a lot better. Looked like she may have moved just a smidge right.
6 into the 10. Champion will be awarded next. You're on Bowl TV.
It was kind of my first moment that I stood in the settee area and looked around and was like, this is like a home. Like, I belong here. We all belong here.
I worked harder. I got better. I got smarter. Obviously, I'd like a few more titles. I remember walking on campus and walking in the bowling alley being like, I'm going to be next to Shannon Plahowski on that wall someday.
It's like Sharapova. She wasn't happy to see Serena. Serena wasn't happy to see Sharapova, you know? All of them. The locker room conversation, there was no conversation.
One day you could be a superstar. Those words just changed my life forever.
A champion will be crowned in just a few moments here on Bowl TV. Live from Steel City Bowl and Brews, it's the Eastern Pennsylvania Regional. Maya Avilez versus Carrie Smith, top seed Carrie Smith. Avilez trying to run the ladder. She is a few frames away from doing that and winning her first PWBA Regional. Here's her first shot post-commercial break. She's had the most experience out of the commercial breaks tonight.
She has.
Bang!
You know, we are shot for shot, score-wise. One pin match. So We're keeping it exciting. Let's check it out.
Big thanks to Debbie, our down lane photographer this week.
Absolutely. Another great shot from Maya right there. We're seeing the replay. Looks like she may have moved a couple boards left with her feet, giving that ball just a little bit more angle through the front part of the lane.
Trying to repeat it. Send it.
Hey, it doesn't matter how they fall. Knock them over.
Intensity starting to amp up a little bit here in the building. They know it's a winning time for somebody.
It is. It's exciting. Because again, we are shot for shot, so it's going to come down to the nitty-gritty here. And Carrie and Jeff do have a group of ambassadors back home that they kind of teach and kind of mentor. And she always tells them, you know, one frame, one shot, one game. So I'm thinking she's kind of thinking the same thing.
And it's working.
It is.
Some love on the 7, and now if that had been high flush, might not have carried.
Absolutely not. We have seen it all today. Great shot off of her hand. Ball's deflecting quite a bit after it hits the head pin, so I'd be curious if she might move her feet a little closer to it. Yet to be determined, but I don't foresee any drastic changes happening here. Just needing that ball to start a little sooner so it can roll into the pocket.
Here it is. There it is.
All right. You know, I love the post-shot reactions, right? The little left fist pump, the arms in the air, the little shouting. I can appreciate it all.
Well, with Carrie Smith, of course, continuing to match shot for shot, and with the 1-pin advantage, we talked about she chose to allow Maya to start, which means Maya's going to finish last. So will she have an opportunity? That's the question. But she's got to keep up the pace here. 4-pin, no.
Almost.
Little bit inside the target, perhaps.
That looked a little more up the lane, left of target, both in the front and down lane. Yeah, and you can tell her body language was trying to help it just a smidge. The 9 almost came into the 4. A fortunate break, just leaving the 4-pin. But as you mentioned, you know, we are shot for shot score-wise, so. Converts the spare, no problem.
Folks ready to hit the lanes here at Steel City, literally Bowl and Brews. They are ready. They got their bowling shoes on.
There is a crowd in here ready to go.
So as soon as this title is won, we will get the winner in briefly, and then we will get off the air because we've got work to do afterwards. But Maya with work to do in the present. 237 max. This is a must strike, it feels like, for Avilez here. Oh, my.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
That was a 2-8 strike. Let's check that one out again. It does look like she has moved a little bit left, creating a little more angle in the front part of the lane. And gets lucky with the 2-8 to fall last. So max score for Maya is 237.
Ninth frame, Carrie Smith. In the driver's seat. cooking with gas.
Absolutely.
Pushing
No
the pedal
problem.
down.
And mathematically here, Emil, if my math serves me, 9 spare strike gets her to 238. And that will mathematically shut out Maya, which could have been exactly what Carrie was envisioning. Like, hey, let me be in the driver's seat here and not have to be up in the 10th frame and make a shot. Let me put the pressure on her if it came down to that type of situation.
I mentioned the noise level going up a little bit, but Carrie's been here before. If she strikes on the first shot, she's got the dub. Here it is. And there it is.
There it is.
Carrie Smith, a winner on the regional tour for the first time since 2023.
Amazing. Let's check that out. And Carrie, being a veteran, knows the math. She knows what she needs. Not sure she loved it based on her body reaction, but the pins said otherwise.
I tell you, between Carrie and Maya, those are the only 2 leaders of the day throughout qualifying.
Absolutely.
Maya led for the first 4 games, and Carrie led for the last 4 games. And so the opportunity to have these individuals make the title match kind of seemed fitting from that perspective. And obviously,
And speaking of the high score that we
shot for
talked
shot,
about,
we got to the high scores.
we got it.
We got everything we need.
All's well that ends well, right? There is our champion.
Well done. Carrie Smith, 259.
In style.
Again,
Good
she
for her.
averaged 237 today during the 8 games of qualifying.
Winner, winner. Is she buying us dinner?
That's a good
I'm going
question.
to ask her.
It's a good question. I think also for the sake of time, Steph, I'm going to have you interview Carrie Smith.
Okay.
I'm going to get moving on some items. And then we'll come back in the booth, quickly wrap it up, and then we'll be out of here.
Sounds good.
For Maya Avilez, though, yeah, if you watched her in collegiate bowling at North Carolina A&T, former MEAC Player of the Year, All-American, etc., this is what you envision. Certainly knew she was more than capable of these types of performances.
Right. And it will not be the last time
absolutely
we see her.
not. I mean, she is unbelievable.
Regardless of how many she plans on bowling, she will be back.
And taking this moment to just get a little bit of information, getting all lined up.
That's right.
Lee and Chris DeSant standing by, the proprietors here at Steel City Bowl and Brews for the presentation. It's official.
There we go. We have our
259.
champion.
259, 217.
For 2026 here at the PWBA Eastern Pennsylvania Regional, Ms. Carrie Smith. We will have our trophy presentation here with our lovely owners, Mr. Lee and Kristen Smith.
Before quickly, I want to thank Bowl TV for taking care of all the coverage. Thank you to the PWBA for continuing to come to this center and be confident in us to hold events like this. We greatly appreciate it. Our staff appreciates it. I and my wife, thank you. Thank you. And our staff here that makes everything run great. Week after week, tore it Thank you, thank you. To the everyone that showed up today, thank you for coming. Thank you for participating. The top 4 finalists, outstanding. The field this year was, I think, even better than last year, and last year was great too. So thank you for bowling, and thank you all, and congratulations to the top 4 fantastic finalists. Ari, I know this is your first time, it's your first time here in Steel City. So we have a new champion in Steel City. Carson, thank you for staying for the whole event and watching this go down. You're a true champion. But we have a new champion here in this house, and it is Carrie Smith. Congratulations.
She is the first champion other than Carson Lukosius at this event.
Championship trophy.
And what an incredible trophy. That thing was heavy. Way to go, Carrie.
All right, let's hear from our new champion, Miss Carrie. Come on down, girl. This is your 4th regional title. Your first one since 2023 and winning the regional showdown. How does it feel? Awesome. We have the national tour right around the corner. So how do you take the momentum of this win into 2026 nationals?
Again, we will have Carrie in the booth here. She will talk with staff here in a moment, so you can hear those answers better.
You are already a regional showdown champion. You are our first in a long time. You have earned a berth back to Orlando again.
She won the regional showdown in its first rendition, or I guess in its current state, in 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2026 PWBA Eastern Pennsylvania Carrie Smith. Thank you all for coming out once again. It's always an amazing time coming to Steel City. Our next PWBA regional is in Rhode Island on April 18th. And immediately after that, we start the 2026 PWBA National Tour season. It's going to be a great one. We appreciate you all for coming out. We can't wait to come back here to Steel City. Thank you, safe travels, and follow all the action on Gold TV all season long.
Good seeing you.
Good bowling. I'll be around. Okay. Thank you. Safe travels. Are you local? Safe travels. Drive safe. All right, folks, we'll have Carrie Smith in a moment.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Stephanie Johnson.
All right, Steph is having a quick fan moment.
Happy to be here.
All right, we'll have Carrie in a handful of seconds. All right, and
Well, I am now sitting with a 4-time PWBA regional champion. How does that feel?
Amazing.
As cliche as that question is, I know it was difficult to hear the answers for our Bull TV watchers, but walk us through, first of all, just qualifying. What did you see during practice this morning? Because for those of you watching that aren't aware, they had a 30-minute practice session prior to qualifying, and then, of course, we started. So walk me through, and everybody watching, what that looked like for you, ball choices, all the good stuff.
Yeah, so 30 minutes practice. I never read too much into the practice session. It's more to get my feet under me, get comfortable with the approaches, you know, maybe see the shape of the pattern a little bit because there's going to be a re-oil, so the pattern's going to go down again. So saw the shape, got comfy, and went and got a coffee, and then we geared up for battle.
And what is our coffee of choice?
Today it was an iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts.
There you go.
I find that drinking hot coffee, I instantly kind of just sweat that out. So the iced coffee is the way to go. But
okay.
Yeah. So we came into qualifying with a game plan of playing to the right and, you know, let's just stay there as long as we can. And instead of trying to move left, because I am a straighter and more speed-dominant player, we kind of did it with bowling balls. Ball up, ball down, that kind of thing. So.
And how many bowling balls did you actually end up utilizing throughout qualifying? Because from this perspective, my seat, it didn't look like very many. I saw the red ball go down the lane a lot, which was the pulse.
That was the money today. The pulse went down the lane a lot. The effect got, or not some, the alert got some
lane play.
And then some fill shots here and there. So with some other stuff, just to, you know, get a look, see maybe if we see something else. But the transition hit around game 6. I had just shot 270 and went to the next pair, and I was like, whoa. It wasn't a subtle transition. It was kind of like just there for everybody.
So walk us through that. Was your ball hooking too early all of a sudden?
Yes.
Like the fronts were gone?
Yes, the fronts were gone. So we had to find a ball and kind of that could at least keep me around the pocket.
Right.
And, you know, get a splash or strike here and there and run down those spares. And then my lane broke down, and then we had to go to the breakdown pair, and that was a fresh pair. So now we have to change the mindset again. So it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but I think the thing that helped me the most to get through everything today is just being mentally tough and just doing one shot, one frame, and one game at a time.
And we did mention that you do have a group of ambassadors back home that you essentially teach that mantra.
Yes.
And I truly believe that during your match, you were embodying that as well. Because it's very true, and it goes by so quickly. We don't have much time, Carrie, but the national tour is right around the corner.
Yep.
Essentially in about a month.
I know.
We will be out there in Rockford. Crazy. This win, I have to believe, is going to boost your momentum into going out there on the national tour. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good stepping stone. You know, even though the scores look good, there are still things that I need to work on before going out on the national tour. So there's still a little time, but this definitely gets me going in the right direction, both physically and mentally.
Perfect. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We are now sitting with Miss Carrie Smith, a 4-time PWBA regional champion. And we would like to thank everybody, of course, for watching us. The Bowling Proprietors Association of America, the BPAA board, the United States Bowling Congress, everybody on the USBC board, Kegel, who is the official lane maintenance provider of the USBC, the competitors providing exciting competition to watch. That is you. And of course, our fans, the Bowl TV community. Thank you guys. So from all of us at Bowl TV, myself, Stephanie Johnson, Emil Williams Jr., and Spencer Mosier, thank you. Good night. And remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. Thank you.